with frustration if they don't get it right now. All that and more as we get up with you starting right now on a Tuesday. And look at the squad we've put together here. Cam Jordan has come dressed for the occasion. Take a look at him. Bartholomew is here. Legler's breaking down hoops. Jeremy Fowler's breaking stories. And that's not all. Teddy Bruschi is with us today. We'll see Teddy. And Zach Lowe has got plenty to say as the play-in begins tonight. But we begin with the news from the NBA. It is official. The Lakers have fired head coach Frank Vogel. They announced it yesterday after finishing 33-49, failing to qualify even for the play-in tournament. And in his postseason address, the King, LeBron James, talking about that decision and his team's path forward.
I think the front office is going to do whatever it takes to help this ball club become a better ball club from top to bottom. They ask me my opinion, I'll give my opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to make the decision that they feel is best for the franchise. I mean, it's not failure at all. I mean, listen, we came to work every single day, put our hard hats on, and we try to get better every day. And the result just didn't happen for us. So, but it's not a failure. It's not like, we came together as a team. We wanted to be as great as we can be. We just didn't accomplish a lot of the things that we would have hoped.
Okay, I don't want to parse words here, but I mean, the idea that this season wasn't a failure for the Lakers, does that sound as ridiculous to you as it does to me?
He's 100% right. It was not a failure. It was a disaster. It's a much stronger word than a failure. I don't know how he could say that with a straight face. I know what he's trying to say because he's just trying to play this down, obviously. But the truth of the matter is when you have LeBron James on your roster, particularly at this stage of his career, every year you expect to win a championship, and certainly when you add a guy next to an Anthony Davis, who's one of the most versatile players in the NBA, Russell Westbrook, you got 3 stars at the top of your roster, you expect to win this year. And that's each and every year that LeBron James plays in this league before he retires. So to say that this wasn't a failure is just LeBron James trying to deflect right now from this epic disaster that this season was.
Yes, I agree with that. And Zach, I'll say this too. I'm not sure which one I put less stock in. The idea that it wasn't a failure or the idea that LeBron is not going to have his hands in absolutely every decision that gets made during this offseason. In what universe, Zach, is he sitting back and letting Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka and whomever else make all the decisions for this team this offseason?
Not this universe. And look, Greeny, he told you. He said, they're going to ask me for my opinion. I'm going to give my opinion, and they're going to make the final decision. So do you think all those people you just mentioned are going to hear LeBron's opinion? Maybe it's a strong opinion, even, on a player or a coach, and be like, yeah, we'll ignore that opinion. So however you parse it, if he's giving his opinion and they're listening to his opinion, he has a heavy say in who's going to coach this team, what kind of players are going to be on this team, and he can't distance himself from that no matter what he says. And guess what? He's earned that equity and more, and he even just told you right there that he has it. So, of course, he's going to have a massive input into whatever happens with this failure, disaster, Titanic, Hindenburg. Everyone is picking their metaphors for how bad this season was for the Lakers.
And look, so all that is right. And I brought up yesterday on my radio show, only half jokingly, the last player coach in the NBA was Dave Cowens in 1979. They might want to consider going that route. Now let's get away from the joking. Is there one move, be it a coach, be it a player acquisition, be it a trade, is there one thing you can think of that might genuinely turn this thing around, turn them from whatever this disaster was into something that resembles a legitimate contender?
The premise of the question is what bothers me so much because LeBron went there first, and what did we give him? We gave him Anthony Davis. We gave him Russell Westbrook. We gave him whatever coach he wants to have. And now we're still talking about what else can we give the Lakers? What else can we give them? I mean, listen, obviously they need to be much better on the perimeter defensively. They need to be a much better shooting team. So you look out there and look at the class of free agents. If you're talking about going out and getting a guy like Robert Covington, does that make sense? I believe he's an unrestricted free agent this summer. Do you add a guy like that? I don't know. But here's for me, when I hear that question, what I really think is, it's okay if the Lakers aren't any good. It's okay. The league will go on. There
Right.
are some great young teams in this league, up-and-coming teams that have already arrived. It's okay. They've been given enough talent to make this work.
I hear that, but I think I go back to the first point you made, which is at this stage of LeBron's career, a player of his magnitude, on some level, it's not okay for them not to be making these deep runs. I mean, it certainly
No, it's
can't
not
be
okay for
with
them.
him.
It's
Yeah.
okay for me, Greeny.
Okay.
I guess that was more of a selfish answer. It's okay for me if the Lakers stink.
I hear that. Look, we got 2 months of outstanding playoffs ahead of us. The Lakers won't be in it, and we'll be fine. But for LeBron James, Zach, if he's going to load up for one more run somewhere, is there a move? What would be the first step you would take if you were the person doing it? Be it a coach, be it a player you'd be identifying. What would be the one move you're looking to make?
Well, Legler nailed it and said, can I call Robert Covington's agent? You know what Robert Covington's agent is going to say to me? You guys don't have any cap space or cap flexibility to get me. Go shopping for worse players than Robert Covington. And that's the problem the Lakers are going to have. The coach is not going to be the game-changing move. A coach can only do so much. The NBA is a players' league. The only move that vaults the Lakers back to where they want to be, where they have to be as LeBron James' prime runs out, if it ever runs out, is some kind of Russell Westbrook plus draft picks plus Taylor Horton Tucker trade that gets you back names that are less sexy than Russell Westbrook, but that can shoot, that can play off the ball, that can defend enough to be on the court in crunch time. All the ingredients the Lakers had around LeBron and AD when they won the title just 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, and all the ingredients they were missing this season. Making that trade is easier said than done, but that's the only way. That's the only general type of move.
I feel like what you're saying is they need back all the guys they traded away and shouldn't have. That pretty much says it. Okay, I promise we're going to get to the play-ins and the playoffs coming up a little later in this hour. But let me get to the NFL because the crew is here, and we're talking about Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback, playing this season on his 5th-year rookie options. That'll pay him $23 million. He's scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent in 2023. On the Rich Eisen show yesterday, the coach John Harbaugh explained why there hasn't yet been an extension for the star quarterback.
He's a unique guy, and it's, people have been scratching their heads and trying to figure out Lamar probably for a long time, ever since he was a kid. And he's got his way of going about doing things, but that's what you love about him. That's what I love about him. It's got to be a priority for both sides. But we could do something, or we can wait because we know it's going to get done. He doesn't think he has to think about his contract. Feels like he's got time to do it. And yeah, you could argue that one way or the other, but everybody gets to make that decision for themselves. That's the great thing. That's his choice, not somebody else's.
It's interesting, Jeremy Fowler, our insider, because we live in a world where, generally speaking, these quarterbacks want to get their big contract as quickly as they can. We saw how it played out with Dak Prescott in Dallas. We see Kyler Murray. Yeah. Lamar Jackson seems to be taking the opposite tack here. What do people around the league think of this?
Yeah, well, I'm hearing that the Ravens are hopeful that this heats up after the draft, but they truly do not know because they're waiting on Lamar. He's been incredibly patient throughout this process. Talking to some execs around the league, they believe that he's going to need that Deshaun Watson type treatment. We're talking $45, $46 million. That's the market now that he's received because he's waited so long. Remain patient here, and they are uncertain whether Baltimore really wants to pay